Hello and welcome to Black Moon Bear Healing. My name is Melanie Gardner, for those of you that don't know, and this is my group. Today I wanted to talk to you about, so in the last video I looked at ways of connecting with crystals, and one of those ways was to do some research. And it occurred to me that's actually a big topic in itself, because where do you start with researching crystals? There is so much information out there at the minute, and it can be really contradictory at times and a bit difficult to navigate. So I thought I'd share with you my top 5 books. Some of these people do also have their own YouTube channels, so feel free to check those out. I've learned a lot from them, and their information is really valuable. What's important, I guess, for you to consider when researching crystals is what it is you're wanting to find out. Are you wanting to find out about a specific crystal, in which case it might be better to go on YouTube and look at a video, or on Facebook and look at a video about that specific crystal? Or if you're wanting to know about crystals in general, about how they work and about how to incorporate them into your life, it might be better to read a book about crystals. I struggled for years to find the information that I wanted, because I get very fixated on the why and the how that something works, and I found that very difficult to find, because technically it's not scientifically proven. Science has made lots of contributions to theories about how they can work with crystals, and there are already a myriad of uses for them in computers and various other things that we use every single day in storing information and providing energy. That they've already been very widely used. But in terms of spiritual development, spiritual progression and connection, there's not really much scientific information out there. So I did struggle to find that information. It wasn't impossible, and there are lots of theories out there, and some of them resonate and some of them don't, so that's up for you to kind of figure out. So once you've figured out what it is that you want to find out, then finding the right book or the right author can be helpful. So here's a couple of my suggestions to get you started. One of my favourite books when I was starting out was Adam Barrelay's Crystal Connections, because in here he does give quite a lot of information about every crystal, and his specialty is to combine energies, to match energies, which is something that I brought into my own practice after doing his course. He has a Nature's Healers course if anyone's interested in learning more about that. So he brings together essential oils and gods and goddesses from various mythologies to kind of give an idea of how this crystal resonates and the energy that it has, and give suggestions on how you can work with that. They're all meditation based, so he gives walk-through meditations or suggested meditations, either to go and sit by water or to go and sit by a tree, and does a lot of how to connect with crystals through meditation, and how to combine with the elements to enhance that experience. So again, it is a really good starting point if that's what you're interested in. If you're looking at more of a developing more of an understanding of crystal healing as a practice and as a means of healing, Katrina Raphael has some fantastic books. This is Crystal Enlightenment. There are 3 in this series. They do go quite in depth. She starts off quite light, and then she gets more and more in depth with each one. I think they're from the 90s, so they are probably a little bit dated now, but still have 1985. But they still have some really relevant, really interesting information in there about how to do grids for. This one's kind of more about self-development and self-progress, and her subsequent books are more about how to work with others, and grids that you can use for specific purposes, and the how and why of putting grids together and how the energy flows within that, and her personal experiences of that, so that's really helpful. There's also Philip Permer. You may have heard of Philip Permer already. He is based in London, so he's UK. Not many people seem to be UK based, but Philip Permer is. Adam is Australia, so a little further afield. Yeah, Philip Permer is based in the UK, he has a shop in London, and he also has his own crystal courses, so he's also worth looking into. His books are really helpful, I find them a lot more to the point, more clear, so there's not masses of information on every crystal, but it does give a little bit of information about his experiences and his beliefs as to why crystals work, and how to work with crystals, and then he goes into kind of it provides you with a little bit of information about each crystal, so that you can kind of use your intuition a bit to find out which one is best for you. So if you want a quick overview about every crystal, that's fine, because you can look in the back and you can say, oh, I have a headache, and it'll give you a list of suggested crystals for working with a headache. There isn't a one size fits all, because we're not all the same and not all headaches are the same. So in the same way that if you were to go to a doctor and ask and say you had anxiety, there'd be any number of tablets that they could try for a number of months and see which one resonates best with you. And it's the same with crystals. If you suffer from migraines or long-term illnesses, it might be that you have to experiment with a few crystals to see what helps, and that can be a good starting place for that, because it gives you a good list of ones that you can work with and help with, and then you can look at a bit more information about that crystal, how it helps emotionally and how it helps physically and how it helps mentally. So I find them really helpful. Another one is, this is a big one, this is the Book of Stones. This has been written by Robert Simmons. This is a huge book, and it's not the only one in the series. It has been updated. I think this is the most recent one, but he gives so much information on every crystal. So if you really were wanting to get an in-depth look at a variety of crystals, this is a really fantastic book. He does go into his beliefs on how crystals work. He gives you kind of his background and where he started, but he also shares experience from a spiritual perspective, as well as a science perspective, as well as kind of a layperson experience of working with crystals. He looks at the chakra connections to each crystal, and gives information about the mythology behind various stones, where there's been documented recordings of ancestors using crystals, which is widely explored in other areas, and I don't have time to go into today. The last one I wanted to talk to you about is called Crystal Alchemy by Shirley O'Donoghue. I found this book really, really helpful, because I was looking for practical ways, practical suggestions of working with crystals, of connecting with crystals, and I found this really helpful because she does have in here what's called a crystal attunement sheet. So it's kind of a step-by-step process on how to get in touch with each crystal. It's similar really to what others have suggested, so it's kind of looking at the name of the crystal, the family group or the chemical composition, the crystal system. So it's about researching each crystal, which is, as I suggested in my last video, one of the ways that you can connect with crystals. But she also gives quite a lot of grid suggestions, and what I like about this one in particular is the grids that she uses aren't too flamboyant, because I think in some books they give crystal grids that are really, really, well, they include the use of 5 fist-sized sapphires, for example, and it's not feasible for a lot of people to do that. It's not feasible for me to do that. So I think with in that book in particular, the grids that she uses are very kind of like green aventurine and rose quartz, which are very widely accessible, not very expensive, and easy to come by, whereas some crystals like sapphires are not quite as easy to come by and are quite expensive, and you can't get maybe 12 moldavites for a crystal grid, and that shouldn't mean that you can't experience crystal healing. So they're my 5 top books, if you like, that cover a variety of different aspects. Yeah, so whether you're looking at something more scientific, or you're looking at for something more spiritual, or you're looking for self-healing information, there is a lot of information out there. Figure out what it is that you want to specialise in, and what information you want in particular in relation to crystals, and then go and find it. All of these books I think I've got from Amazon, or if you have the Works where you live, I'm not sure where you live, I think I got Philip Permut's books from the Works, and every other one came off Amazon, so they are easily accessible. If you have any questions, or if you want any more suggestions, drop me a message and I will respond as soon as I can. Have a great day. Take care.